What's going on, my fellow Kino Lords? So tonight I'm going to be reviewing two movies. The first one being Sentimental Value, directed by Joachim Trier, and the second one being Die My Love, directed by Lynn Ramsey. So I just saw Sentimental Value today, the same day that I'm recording this video. And this is a movie that I was quite looking forward to because Joachim Trier is a filmmaker. From the films that I've seen from him, he's 2 for 2. Oslo, August 31st is a fantastic film. It's an incredibly somber movie, super depressing, but it is very good. And I definitely recommend it. Just kind of like prepare to feel like shit after you watch the movie. But very good. The Worst Person in the World is another film that I've seen from him. That's also another great movie. I think stylistically it was very creative and it kind of blended like quiet drama with something that felt, creatively ambitious in terms of style. So that was a really good movie too. And now we got Sentimental Value. I didn't know anything about this movie going into it. The only thing I knew about it was the cast and that it was directed by Joachim Trier. That's it. I didn't see any trailer, didn't see any footage or anything like that. But anyway, the way I would describe this movie just on like a very surface level way is that it's not as depressing as a film like also August 31st. And it's also not as stylistically adventurous as The Worst Person in the World, but it's still quite good. And a lot of that has to do with, I think, the performances all across the board just being absolutely incredible. And the screenplay obviously is very nuanced and has a lot of different thematic ideas it wants to tackle. And also has a very creative meta approach to the whole thing. Conceptually, what this movie is to put it very simply, it's basically about an estranged father who has estranged himself from his family when his daughters were at a very young age to pursue a career in filmmaking, and then later on in all of their lives he decides to come back and want to make a film with one of his daughters in the leading role. And it's supposed to be a very personal film, about his life and his experiences and things like that. And overall, I think the film kind of takes this conceptual approach and it kind of uses it to explore, in my opinion, the central thematic idea about generational trauma, just about how, art is not only used as a form of therapy, but also used as a form of intimate communication and introspection. And how ultimately art can be a very cathartic experience, not only just on a very general level, but on a very personal level as well. As I mentioned before, the performances across the board are absolutely incredible and are a huge reason as to why I feel like this script was amplified. I feel like they really brought the best out of what the script had. And that was really great to see. I mean, everybody, Skarsgård, Rensve, Fanning. Elle Fanning was fucking great in this movie too. There's scenes where she really has to zone in, lock in, and really get into these emotional places. In terms of criticisms about this film, what I will say is that one thing that kind of dragged my experience down as I was watching it is that I feel like there were a good handful of moments to where I feel like the dialogue was very on the nose and was kind of spoon feeding what the audience should have taken away from the scene, or just really spoon fed ideas about how the characters are feeling about this situation. And it was just moments like that where I was it was not necessary. And then also one thing I didn't really mention is that the meta approach, sometimes I can be very particular about because it kind of, sometimes makes it appear as it's more, as if it's more clever than it really is. And not that I got that vibe from this movie, but there were moments where I'm okay, yeah, we get, it's not really, the play isn't really about, it's not just the play, it's also about the movie that you're watching. And the scene, there's a couple moments in the movie where I feel like it wants to trick you to think that the moment that you're seeing is genuine, but then it's cut, and then it just cuts to a movie scene, they're actually filming something. And stuff like that can be fine, but when I see it coming, it's not the most refreshing thing ever. But obviously overall, I still think it's quite good. So I'll just stop talking about it and just give my rating. Before I move on to ratings, I forgot to mention one amazing thing about this movie that a lot of cinephiles are just going to completely gush over. There's a scene in this movie where Stellan Skarsgård's character gives his grandson like a bundle of DVDs, and the selection that he chooses to give his grandson like as a gag, absolutely fucking amazing. Just really, and again, it's definitely a film that's kind of made for people who love film and just love art. And that's like a scene that, like, if you're a cinephile, like if you're a Kino Lord, you're just gonna fucking have a ball with it. But anyway, yeah, that's all I wanted to say. Move on to ratings. I'll give Sentimental Value a solid 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's all I gotta say about Sentimental Value. Moving on to Die My Love from Lynn Ramsey. Now, this was a movie that I was super anticipating. This was one of my most anticipated films of the year. For the simple fact that I fucking love Lynn Ramsey. Everything that I've seen her do is fucking great or just masterful. Ratcatcher, masterful film. You Were Never Really Here, masterful film. We Need to Talk About Kevin. Maybe not masterful, still pretty fucking good. And I'm just like, I'm all on board, you know. And then when I heard that she was doing a film with Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Lawrence, and I was like, this sounds fucking dope. Like, let's see what this is all about. And here's what I'll say about Die My Love. It's my least favorite of Lynn Ramsey's films, but I still very much admire what this film's doing. I really do. There's like, I just can't help but just have huge admiration for Lynn Ramsey's boldness. Like, she's somebody who at this point, you know, you have a cast like Jennifer Lawrence, like Robert Pattinson. You could really just make a more marketable and sellable movie to people, you know, to further your own financial gain and further your career. But instead, she's like, I'm gonna get these two great actors, and I'm gonna make whatever the fuck I want, and I don't care if people hate it. And I really respect that. I really fucking admire that, because this film, from start to finish, is a very interpretive, difficult, psychological watch. And just to give a referential example of what you should expect this movie to be like in terms of vibes and approach, from this year, If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, that's one. In the sense of, like, following a female character that most people on the surface would deem as a terrible person. But the film is, like, trying to put you on board to the point where, like, you can kind of understand some of the more psychotic elements of their character. If I Had Legs, I'd Kick You, that's one. And then also John Cassavetes' A Woman Under the Influence as well. There's entire scenes that reminded me of that movie. But for as much as I admire this movie, I kind of hate the fact that I have a strong feeling that most people who watch this movie are going to walk away from it just being like, I fucking hate Jennifer Lawrence's character. Like, oh my God, her character's so aggravating. And oh, she just got fucking problems, man. What's wrong with her? She's fucking crazy. Like, I feel like people are going to walk away from this movie just being like, oh man, fucking bitch is crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like that is going to be the ultimate takeaway for most people who watch this film. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I lack too much faith in humanity. I don't know. But, you know, that's something that I feel like a lot of people are going to walk away from this film. But ultimately, what this film is doing thematically and conceptually is it's expressing and displaying the horrors of postpartum depression. You know, in this very, like, personalized, psychotic kind of way. But to me, yeah, like, it ultimately is about postpartum depression, you know, and about the loneliness and the isolation that you feel going through that stage. Because when you announce you have a baby, all the attention's on you. When you are pregnant during your pregnancy, all the attention's on you. And then once you have the baby, no one gives a fuck about you anymore. All it is about how beautiful that baby is and what are you doing with your life? You know, where's your career? Where's your job? What's your plan? What are you bringing to the table? It's just a lot of judgment after that point. Like, after you have the baby, it's judgment towards the mother constantly. And then nothing but, you know, fucking candy and gold for the baby. And ultimately that is, it's exploring in a very, I guess you could say, a lot of people would describe it as more of like a bombastic way of, expressing these postpartum depression ideas. But I feel like it uses the postpartum stuff really to explore mental illness in general as well, because a lot of Jennifer Lawrence's behavior in this movie, can be attributed to people who have BPD and social anxiety and depression, and things of that nature. Robert Pattinson wasn't a fucking good guy either in this movie. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he was emotionally unavailable in so many ways, sexually unavailable in every way. I'm trying to not be as spoiler as I want to be here, but somebody who was not faithful really to the marriage at all. And, I feel like a lot of people might walk away from this movie not fully, giving Robert Pattinson his due credit and how shitty he was too. Honestly, like if you would have just fucked your wife, I don't think any of this would have happened. I think if you just had sex with Jennifer Lawrence, perhaps all this could have been avoided. I think this movie's exploring that too. Like it's exploring the sexual frustrations that women have to deal with as well. But yeah, the way that this movie is presented and the way that it's edited together and the way that it's the whole creative approach of it has a very you're really in the mind of somebody who is experiencing psychosis. There's a lot of moments in this film where you're like, I feel like the images that we're seeing are not reliable. There's a lot of surreal moments. There's symbolism with like a black stallion and how that is analogous to Lakeith Stanfield's character in here. I don't know. Like there's a lot of interesting things going on with this movie. And I love that Lynn Ramsey is still just saying fuck it and doing whatever the hell she wants. Especially for a movie that would have this much mainstream appeal because of the actors that are in it. And even though I admire this movie a lot, I can't say that I love everything about it. There's a lot of creative decisions in this movie that I don't feel like I'm on board with. Even though I appreciate them doesn't mean I have to like them, you know what I mean? And even with the ending to this movie, I thought there's a scene with Robert Pattinson and Jennifer Lawrence in the truck singing together near the end of the movie. And I thought maybe if it ended there, it would have been great, but it doesn't end there and it keeps going. And I feel like it does something that's kind of over the top for the ending, almost like a look at me kind of ending. And even though again, I know what it's going for, I don't know if it was necessary, to tell the film that I think it wanted to tell. Ultimately, feels like a 2-hour film where we're just on this fucking postpartum psychosis roller coaster ride. And we're just trying to piece together things as we go. There's not a lot of narrative progression throughout the movie. It can at times feel a bit repetitive. And it felt kind of frustrating watching it just throughout the experience. I think that for the most part, it works really well. There's just a good handful of things about it that I can't confidently say that I'm on board with. But yeah, just to move on to my rating, overall, I'd give Die My Love same as Sentimental Value, honestly. I'll give that a soft to solid 7 out of 10. Obviously, Die My Love's the more chaotic, more kind of, brazen movie. So if you want something a little bit more energetic and kind of fucking in your face, watch Die My Love. You want something a little bit more subtle and contained, go watch Sentimental Value. But yeah, that's all I gotta say. Yeah, sorry it's been a while since I've done a review. Obviously, I'm currently kind of doing a remodel of my studio. If you couldn't tell already, I'm gonna get some posters, put them there. Maybe one there. There's gonna be posters on this wall, obviously. But yeah, it's good to be back. I'm glad to talk to you guys. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about these films in the comment section if you guys have already seen them. But yeah, that's all I got to say. If you really enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it amongst your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be updated on more film-related content.